Uhlezi phansi kumnandi kangaka kumnandi kungani uhlezi phansi kumnandi kangaka kumnandi hayi wena wahlela phansi kumnandi kangaka kumnandi kungani uhlezi phansi kumnandi kangaka kumnandi kungani uhlezi phansi kumnandi kangaka kumnandi hayi wena wahlela phansi kumnandi kangaka kumnandi kungani uhlezi phansi kumnandi kangaka felo awushekeli kustake thathiyeka usimanya utetela umzimba uteteluka isitetela igazi uteteluka isitetela umzimba uteteluka isiyekeli kustake thathiyeka usimanya utetela umzimba uteteluka isitetela igazi uteteluka isitetela umzimba uteteluka isiyekeli kustake thathiyeka usimanya utetela umzimba uteteluka isitetela igazi uteteluka isitetela umzimba uteteluka isiyekeli kustake thathiyeka usimanya utetela umzimba uteteluka isitetela igazi uteteluka isitetela umzimba uteteluka isitetela igazi utetela umzimba utetela igazi utetela umzimba uteteluka istake thathiyeka usimanya uteteluka isitetela igazi uteteluka isitetela umzimba uteteluka isitetela igazi utetela umzimba utetela igazi utetela umzimba uteteluka istake thathiyeka usimanya uteteluka isitetela igazi uteteluka isitetela umzimba uteteluka sathiyeka usimon uthethe umzimba uthethe luke sithethe igazi uthethe luke sithethe umzimba uthethe luke siyekele Steve sathiyeka usimon uthethe umzimba uthethe luke sithethe igazi uthethe luke sithethe umzimba uthethe luke siyekele Steve sathiyeka usimon uthethe umzimba uthethe luke sithethe igazi uthethe luke sithethe umzimba uthethe luke
bathi danko yinto bafethu shu akhona lento engenza akhona lento engibamba akhona lento ngibathenyalena akhona lento ngibathenya ngapha akhona lento engenza shu akhona lento engibamba akhona lento engidobetha akhona lento ngibathenyalena akhona lento ngibathenya ngapha akhona lento engenza achikitshela ntombazana ungasa ntombazana ungawa engithulisi wenzima shu achikitshela ntombazana ungasa ntombazana ungawa engithulisi wenzima shu achikitshela ntombazana ungasa ntombazana ungawa achikitshela ntombazana ungasa akhona lento lokikhala kulensi akhona lento lokikhalisa amaji akhona lento lokihlanyisa my sister akhona lento lokikhala kulensi akhona lento lokihlanyisa amaji akhona lento lokikhalisa usambe kanje akhona lento lokikhala kulensi akhona lento lokikhalisa amaji akhona lento lokihlanyisa my sister akhona lento lokikhala kulensi akhona lento lokikhalisa amaji akhona lento lokihlanyisa my sister akhona lento ntombazana ungitshela ukhalelani noma ukhala ngani ukhala ngamarodo noma magundane uthi njani ngaba ngiphethe upasta ungitshela ukhala ngani ungitshela ukhalelani noma ukhala ngani ukhala ngamarodo noma magundane uthi njani ngaba ngiphethe upasta ungitshela ukhala ngani ungitshela ukhala ngani ngamarodo noma magundane unjani no pasta 99 ungitshela ukhala ngani before sinyamalala urisi madlisa benozuma uMr aha benoncamalala unjani indoda ebalumayo no pasta 99 ungitshela ukhala ngani asambe ngomshini asambe ngomshini wami
kabisa bongi Zana mapanisha Uyazi vaiti kona makono Wafas no boy pisa na me Mtingi Napendola kona Kistiki Nabesa skupa kona Ati sobabono Okuti banjene Tanzania Tanzania Ati sobabono Okuti banjene Tanzania 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 Ati sobabono Okuti banjene Tanzania Tanzania
Awesome. Aololo. Asambe yuena. Evati, yasho. Asia. Sendani. Sing along. 1, 2, 3, give it love. What's up? Baguette some twine. Give it love. What's up? Baguette some twine. Baby, who must serve? Baguette some twine. Party please. I see qu'est-ce qu'on se fait. Ça Pabi. I see qu'est-ce qu'on se fait. Ça Pabi dans la gamasa. Journalé. I see. Beli me le bataki Doni polang hama kona Beli oni saka matoza Beli me le bataki Así que es caso class, Figiles catsa Pabi, dala na moda. Así que es caso class, Figiles catsa Pabi, dala na moda. Así que es caso class, Figiles catsa Pabi, así que es casa Figiles casa Pabi, así que es casa Figiles casa Pabi, así que es casa Figiles casa Pabi.
Entombazana ngithi please. Entombazana ngithi please. Entombazana hungba. Entombazana hunge. Entombazana ngithi please. Entombazana ngithi please. Angishisi makhekhe ngipakana hunge. Entombazana hungba. Angishisi entombazana hungba. Entombazana hunge. Entombazana hunge. Entombazana hungba. Entombazana ngithi please. Entombazana hunge. Entombazana hungba be. Entombazana hunge. Asabe isimahisa. Ekwasuka lo. Abo. Ebathi dambo isiteki bafe.
Angizange ngibone inkonjena uyavuma nawe.
Hayibo we. Asabe we. Hawuye. Awungike. Asabe. Arisimahlisa. Angishisi makhekhe ngipaka nice. Asabe. Angishisi lokuku ntate.
Let me play the last song. Kira banyana baki bafana. Asia banyana baki bafana. Yo, my name is Pabi, but this banana is bafana. Let's go, Asia.
Saja ya sa chega no ilas na ba presidente ya strada kalene ke bawa shoka no lem na te koka na hosna la mata no reswa bisa sa tan ke babulay sama la ake saja ya sa chega no ilas na ba presidente ya strada kalene ke bawa shoka no lem na te koka na hosna la mata Reswa bisa sa tan kibabulay sama bigla. Kibabulay sama bigla.
Banyana baki bafana. Banyana baki bafana. Banyana baki bafana. Bafana baki bana.
Kibabulay sama bigla.
Banyana baki bafana, bafana baki banya, banyana baki bafana, bafana baki banya, kibashile gaspa, hakibeta baspa, kupa pabikana, pagila saka kaupa, usanza mutlasa, ankanta nambana, skimile di lasna, kiri kai kafa kai kafa kiri kai kafa kai kafa kiri kai kafa
Saja ya sa chega no ilas na ba presidente ya strada kalene ke bawa shoka no lem na te koka na hosna la mata swap bisasa kibabo like sama la akesaja ya sa chega no last na ba presidente ya strata kalene ke bawa shoka no lemnate koka na hosnale mata no re swap bisasa kibabo like sama la
YouthX Live is back with a series of events designed to give you inspiration, advice, and networking opportunities with our change makers. And we kick off with arts and culture, which is at the heart of most things we do. It speaks to the business and expression of our creative skill and imagination. We also have entertainment from Mzansi's hottest performers. But for now, put your hands together for our hostess with the most, our MC for the day, the one and only Mushe Ndiki.
And that is how we welcome you to the first Nedbank YouthX Live event of 2022. Ikamalam Ngumushe Ndiki, and today is exciting as we get to host the first YouthX Live event in person for the first time. And ndicela unibulisa nonke anisebahle nisecurity jabona noba niyajiva nina. Siyanibona ndinibhaqile. Nginibhaqile nina. Niyenzani? Now, Nedbank is painting Durban green today. In addition to hosting this event, we are going to be Max's Lifestyle, because we have also partnered up with the Township Entrepreneurship Alliance in Umlazi at Max's Lifestyle today. Now, the objective of that is, you know what? We need to help entrepreneurs to succeed and grow by offering training workshops to township business owners by leveraging the bank's various business development programs and banking solutions to support the growth of micro and small businesses in the informal sector across South Africa. A big round of applause for Nedbank for doing that. And also, guys, a big round of applause for you for coming through. And another round of applause for all of those that are joining us virtually. Molweni. Now, let's get back to today's business. Nedbank YouthX is back for its second edition. If we've got a second edition, that means there was something that was right that we did with the first edition. This year, we continue its drive to empower the youth by providing them with access to resources, mentorship, and inspirations to unlock their potential. Now, but for those that may need a little bit of a recap on what YouthX Live events are all about, YouthX Live is a series of events for the youth that you guys will be able to attend absolutely for free. So our VIP section, ningatimba fazwa, I loyal patel, now our patalang, now our kokanga, now our kokanga. So for you guys to learn more about the changemakers and their respective journeys, for you guys to be also equipped with financial education as well as engage with industry experts on key topics relevant to their fields. Now, today's theme is something that I'm very passionate and I'm also part of, which is arts and culture. And the event is going to be broken down into 3 segments, namely TalkX. In this segment, our arts and culture changemakers will present a masterclass on their respective career and business journeys. Okwesibini, it's going to be the money talk. We will be joined by Vasi Govender, manager for commercial banking and Nedbank, who will also be discussing how you can set up yourself and your business for financial success. Because in business, we can't learn about when's imali. You got a point? We turn to it. Tell you that I funnel when imali. And I turned I'm not sure imali. And the money right. Now, this will also be followed by the power panel. You can submit questions to the changemakers and Vasi Govender to answer through the YouthX platform or by tweeting your questions to unlocked_ZA. Please remember to include the hashtag power panel if you want your questions to be answered. For those of you who are here today, we'll also be having a roaming mic so you guys can get to answer our changemakers questions literally directly when they are here on stage. Now, if you guys have looked around yourselves, you will see there are pods where our changemakers, they're going to be chilling that side. Say hi, changemakers! Say hi, changemakers! So you can get to ask them questions about literally anything, your career path, and they're there to help you unlock your truest potential. I've spoken to them. Don't worry, abalumi, they don't bite. The most that they can do is literally give you a hug. But this is not where it all ends. There are loads of prizes to be won today, online as well, and the YouthX campaign. Engage with us on the YouthX platform by submitting questions to our power panel or on Twitter, and you could win loads of spot prizes. Guys, namhlanje ndizanipha imali, ndizanipha i-gifts. Sasha, xa nindibize besikhe nindibize ebhuti Madlisa. Yena, ndikubhuti bani? Andiniva man, andiniva. Ubhuti bani? Washa, and in between all of this, we have loads of exciting activities and announcements. Today is all about unlocking your potential. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to hear from our changemakers. The first changemaker representing arts and culture in the visual arts and literacy subcategory is someone who has attained major success within the industry. He is an award-winning contemporary multimedia visual artist and stylist and has his work showcased and honored globally. So Londo is a global superstar. Nyaiva. Daya's local is like but we global superstar, someone who is also multi-talented. Give it up for Trevor Stearman!
For a better life, it's time to move now. It's time to move jive. It's time to move now. It's time to move jive. I got stresses in my life.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for taking time out to be with us today. It means a lot for me being on stage, but also I hope it means something for your current, present, and your future. My name is Trevor Stearman, and I'm a multimedia visual artist from Kimberley. And today I'd love to share a bit about my story, where I come from, and what has gotten me to this point up to today. So my journey as a creative started back home, where I believe all our stories start. Home for me has always been a compass, a center point where I derive inspiration, but also where I've been able to build my identity and that's how I craft my stories in everything that I do. And growing up, my mother gave me the chance and opportunity to choose my own clothes, and that's how I developed my style. And that's what gave me the confidence to become who I am. And I think as a creative, choice and freedom is the ultimate gift, and you always want to have creative freedom to choose who you are and how you tell your story. And as a child, I remember that my preferred toys were always art supplies. So be it coloring books or crayons or, yeah, just being able to have different types of tools that, for me, that creatively inspired me and that creatively, that creatively stimulated me. For me, that was important as a child, to be always creatively stimulated and to be in an environment where I felt that I was actively being creative. And I think just as a child and being in, for example, like in grade 1, Mondays or Fridays were dedicated to art. And that, for me, those were my favorite days. And just being in primary school, I remember those days vividly, and I'm so grateful that my mother kept some of those, some of the artwork from my formative years. And fast track to high school, I had a collective of friends that were like-minded, and with my friends, we were always super creative, and we always stood out, and in the most authentic and in the most natural way. Like, just even wearing school uniform, we would be able to tweak it and stylize it in a way that spoke to our aspirations, our dreams, and where we saw ourselves. And I think as a creative, it is important to always be able to understand what makes you unique and to be bold enough to stand out of a crowd. And this doesn't have to be in an outrageous way, I think it's just a matter of being aware. And growing up in a small town, the resources were quite, I guess, scarce, but the creativity was so vast. And growing up had, I guess, the only transport I had outside of Kimberley were magazines, because internet at the time wasn't like the biggest thing, but magazines were able to transport myself and my friends out of our lives in Kimberley. And that has always been so important to me, to be able to understand the power of images and the power that it possesses to transport us from our everyday, I guess, lives, but also the power that it has to create new worlds. Because I feel that now in my work, I'm able to create worlds and universes where people are able to revisit and others are able to be transported to. And through that, it has created a new world for myself and my dreams. And I believe that my whole life has been a culmination of different manifestations as a child. And just, yeah, growing up high school, we were able to kind of use magazines as references and to recreate different editorial shoots and package them for Facebook. And that was our biggest platform in high school. Facebook was, yeah, the time that it was kind of coming up, and it was this new exciting platform. And locally at home in Kimberley, in high school, we were those kids, we were, every Friday we would go out into town and scout for locations, whether it be an old train station, whether it be an old museum, and just all these other interesting, mundane places that people would kind of walk past but not see any importance and relevance. But I guess we were able to give meaning to these spaces that everyone saw as non-important. And when I was in high school, I chose subjects such as visual arts, dramatic arts, and history. And those subjects were very important for me because they gave me the skills and the knowledge to help me decide what my next move would be post high school. And I studied filmmaking. And for me, filmmaking was important because it taught me the fundamentals of storytelling. And storytelling as a creative, you would know that that's the backbone of everything. And just life in general. We are, I guess, creatures of meaning, and we are wired for connection, and it is important that we connect through our different stories, whether they are the same or not, but your story is what always sells. And I'm also an advocate of the idea that self sells. So when you are a creative, it's important to know your story and to take care of your story and ultimately amplify your story through the use of digital media. I think that is our biggest asset right now, and I think it's something that we all possess. I guess, but also, I take it for granted that we all possess it, but we have, to some certain degree, access to the internet, and we have the power to kind of change our own narrative and the direction of our future through the use of internet. And we are able to access information at any given time, and through that information, we are able to package ourselves for the world. And in 2012, I entered this competition that Elle magazine had, which was the All-Star Reporter Search. And that competition is the competition that changed my life, because I won a career, and it allowed me to, I won a 12-month contract to work with Elle magazine. And at the time, the internet was on the come up, and I was able to be the ears and eyes for Elle magazine. And the big part of the job was to document different fashion weeks in and around the country, and a trip to London Fashion Week. And at the time I was 19, and this was in my second year of studying, and that was life-changing, because I was this kid from Kimberley, and then next thing I'm at London Fashion Week, and it was just out of this world. It was crazy, because it pitched me at such a high, it pitched the bar at such a high place, and it was like my dreams from there on were never the same, because I was at a place where I could not have imagined to be in such a short space of time. But looking back, I realized that I was always working towards this moment. And I think it is important that we always understand that our everyday efforts are the ones that actually bring us to our higher purpose and ultimately where our dreams are. And after winning the All-Star Reporter Search, I think that's the time that I learned how to become a professional storyteller, because I think we can all be creatives and we can all be storytellers, but it's important to understand that it's a serious profession with so many things to take into account. And I think what makes it so serious and so important to understand is that anyone can do it, but it takes a certain level of discipline and excellence to remain in the room. And post-studying, and so I spent 4 years studying towards my BA honors, and with that, what I learned as well are the fundamentals of education. I think education is so important, as much as it's something that, I guess, when you are in training, it's something that you almost take for granted, and something that I think, just being black, you don't have the opportunity. Because for me, when I went to study, my dad had passed away in my grade 11th year, and my mother was unemployed. And the possibilities of me studying were 0 to none. And it was important that I had self-belief in myself before anything, because I had to pitch to my mother this idea of me studying something that I had not seen anyone else study and excel in. And I think just growing up, it almost feels like a lifetime ago, but it's like almost 12 years back, where opportunities or rather points of references within the creative and art space. There were just no references. There was no one that I could kind of look at to be like, this person has done it, therefore they are a case study for my mother to see that I too have a chance at becoming someone. And the only references I had to the creative world and space were channels such as Vuzu, you know. That was like a kind of a corner or it was like a window into Johannesburg, the life and generations as well. For example, Ezweni Communication was like a peep into the advertising industry. And I feel that it is important that, I guess it was important for me to become who I am so that I can be a reference point to the next generation. And I think it is important that I finished school, and it was important that I pushed through it all. And pushing through it all meant a lot of sacrifices. And my first camera was my cell phone. And I think when we're young, we always want the best, and you want the next best thing. And at the time, the only thing I had was a cell phone. And it's important that you always use what you have wherever you are, and instead of looking left and right. And from my cell phone, I got a point and shoot, and that allowed me to kind of upgrade. And it was like a camera that I got for 800 at the time, and it was quite expensive. It was just like saving up and hustling, and but it was such a big moment in my life, because then I was able to then convert that into a bigger camera that I was now able to shoot different things. And when I started out, I shot everything: maternity shoots, birthdays, graduations. If you needed pictures taken, I was the guy. And now I've been able to shoot some of my personal icons, and I'd love to now share some of my work that I've done in my time as a professional creative. So this was a shoot that we did in Lagos, which was for Tiwa Savage. Some of these images were shot across the continent with Naomi Campbell. This was one of the highlights of my career, because it was, I guess, an opportunity where my mother, for the first time, was able to see the type of work that I do, because she never ever understood it. But the fact that I was able to shoot President Obama in his ancestral homeland in Kenya, for her, it meant something. So this is one of my favorite moments in my career. This was Sierra when she came to South Africa, and we shot this in Soweto. And then this was one of the, I guess, another career-defining moment, which was Global Citizen, where I got to document Beyonce's stay and her performance. And here are some of the other commercial work that I've done. This was shot in Ghana for Vlisco. This was in Senegal for Tongoro, which is one of my favorite African brands. This was for Motions in Rwanda. This was for Simon and Mary, which we shot in Johannesburg. And then my partnerships, I've been a mini brand ambassador for the past 7 years. And this is some of the work we've done throughout. This was for Savage Beauty, not Savage Beauty, Savage X Fenty, and then Vivo Mobile. This was for Adidas. And some of the work that I've done for Vogue. And now I'll be taking you back to my editorial work, which for me is always my favorite, because I have my background falls so much within editorial and publishing. These were for Condé Nast, and these are some of the covers that I've been on a personal capacity. And back to my film work. This was for Ratched and Netflix. And then this was for Black Panther. And then lastly, this was for Black is King, which was a film by Beyonce. And this was for a beauty campaign for Coming to America. So with that said, that's who I am and that's how far I've come. And I think it is important as young people that we take our dreams very serious and that you understand that it is possible and never take for granted the steps that you take within pursuing your journey. So the fact that you were able to wake up, commit, and come today, that's a step towards achieving whatever you have in mind. And our dreams are all different, and our journeys are equally different. And it is important to understand that you need to place yourself in a position that you see yourself in the future. And for me, dressing up is a simple act of doing that. So every day, intentionally waking up and dressing up like your future self, for me, that's what I did, and that's what empowered me and made me feel like this is possible, because I was able to outdress my circumstances. And I only hope that you can do the same for yourself, and that you take every opportunity that comes your way, because life is a set of choices, and it is ultimately up to you to take those different choices and opportunities and never take any moment for granted. And with that said, thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for Trevor Stearman. As I said, ladies and gents, the changemakers are going to be that side. You are going to be able to ask a couple of questions regarding your career, because Trevor, uBeyonce uyasazi isizulu. Like unuka kanjani? Uthi ngayithetha. Uzanibalisela later le. So now our next topic is fashion and beauty, and one where we have an exciting announcement to make. Now, this announcement, I must only make it at the end. But guys, ndiyazithanda indaba mna nem. Natural, ngubani ongazithandi? Uyazithanda? Awuzithandi? Mamgobhozi. Mamgo onguwe. But now I'm actually going to let you guys know kwangoku. So I'm not sure if you guys have caught a glimpse of the trendy YouthX merchandise yet, but it is something to do with our next change maker. Nedbank is excited to be partnering up with Tatiso Dube, who is the founder of Galaxy Boy, a brand that was founded in 2008 and designed for the youth and by the youth. His work encompasses the modern aspirations of young South Africans all over. Galaxy Boy and YouthX branded merchandise will be up for grabs today and throughout the YouthX campaign. Without any further delay, let's give it up for Tatiso Dube of Galaxy Boy.
Hello, everybody. I need this thing. Anyway. Hi, everyone. My name is Tatiso Dube. I'm 32 years old. I'm the founder and owner of the Galaxy Boy brand. I was born and raised in Mamelodi, Pretoria 012. And basically, I'm here to tell you about my journey and how I started, where I am now, what happened, how many times I cried, etc. So my journey started in high school, 2008. That's when I discovered fashion and fell in love with it. But at that time, I didn't see myself being in the fashion industry because I've never seen anyone my color do it. So later on, I discovered a brand called Ama Keep Keep, then found out that the owner is black. Then from there, that's when I started my brand and, trying to create my own thing. But at that time, obviously, you don't know what to do. So the best thing when you start is to copy everyone else.
until you develop your own style and move your own way. So, yeah, I started working on my brand. Eventually, I even worked for Ama Keep Keep. I designed for them for about a year. And instead of asking for money for my work, I asked a guy to mentor me so I can learn the game and basically push my brand forward. So after that, after I left Ama Keep Keep, that's basically when Galaxy Boy started in 2012. But the development started way back in high school. Then I was just basically working on it for like 3 years. Back then it was called Cheese Boy. Then the girls wanted to be part of the brand also, so I made another brand called Cheese Girl. But I wanted to put the names together, so I ended up calling it Cheese Galaxy Boy. So, but you know, when you're doing your research, I figured out that no, the name is a bit too long. So I cut the cheese and ended up with Galaxy Boy. So Galaxy Boy is basically an equation. Girl times boy, what girls do because of boys and what boys do because of girls. You can wear a mini skirt, he can cut his hair like this, he can smoke this, he can drink that, etc. So 2012, Galaxy Boy was born. I was working for Ama Keep Keep that year. Then at the end of my contract, I launched my own brand, selling from the boot of my car, pushing harder every day. 2014, we eventually opened our first store in Hatfield. We pushed the store for about 3 years. It was good. It was a good time. But then 2017, the store shut down. Reason behind that is basically I only knew how to make the product and sell it, but not necessarily knew how to run the business. So the store shut down. I went into like a young depression, yeah, you know. Imagine losing something you've only known and you're like embarrassed, what people are gonna say, blah, blah, blah. So I basically went underground, started reworking the brand, you know, gaining confidence again to come back. Then I decided to start over again, broke down the whole brand, restructure everything from the bottom, came up with new ideas, basically had to fight for my life because this is the only thing I knew. I didn't want to go to school. I went to school, but I dropped out. But I didn't want to go back to school, so I had to make this work. So I pushed. Then we came back. I got the confidence to come back. I think late 2019, just before COVID. And then we went into a hard lockdown. Then I decided, since we can't move around, I'll just launch an online store. So online store, I started again from the bottom, sold t-shirts. Then we got into sunglasses, handbags, leather accessories, kept pushing the bar up, learning from my failures. All I could think about is that the shop that closed down, I don't want to go back there, you know what I mean? So I had to go push on and make the brand successful again. So today, 2022, I can say I have an online store. We're pushing out, I think, about 200 orders per day. We have 2 physical stores, and I employ about 13 people. You know, thank you. And basically, like an overnight success takes 10 years, and my journey took me 10 years to basically get here. And yeah, that's my story. And basically, through this journey, I had people I looked up to. Obviously, number one would be the guy from Ama Keep Keep. He basically taught me everything I know. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here, basically. And someone else I admire a lot is Focalistic, because he basically pushes the bar, even if he already pushed it before. So his work ethic is very admirable, and it inspires me greatly. And I think the last 2 people that inspire me, that I look up to right now, is the guys from Batu and Drip, Theo Baloyi and Lekau. They're basically showing us that in this fashion industry, we can be giants like your Nikes and Adidas and all of those people. Looking back to my life, I doubt I would have listened to any advice, but the best advice I would have wanted to hear was to be patient. you know, because this thing, it takes long. You know, you have to be patient. It might not look like it's going anywhere, but every step of the way is progress. Just like you guys, you came here today, this is progress. You might not live here a millionaire or have a business, but you have added something to your journey. In terms of, I think the moment I feel most recognized is when customers buy my product. Because I've never really cared about being recognized for what I do, especially by people in higher places. The recognition I value the most comes from the customers that buy the products. That's the only thing that makes me push harder to give my customers more, and that's the best way to make money, because if you service, entrepreneurship is about giving a service. If you're not giving a service, then you're not making money. You have to solve problems and such. And I think key advice I'd like to give to the youth about starting anything is basically you have to start now. You know, you have nothing to lose. You have no responsibilities. You have no kids. You have no bills. You're in your mom's house. Like, you won't lose anything if you start now. If you want to start, if you want to do music, fashion, whatever you want to do, you have to. The best time is to start now. So you can make all the mistakes you have to make. Then by the time you're like 20, 25, you know what not to do and what to do. And another advice is basically do your research. You know, someone has done something. Someone has done the thing you want to do before. So if you want to go into clothing, like me, when I wanted to make T-shirts, I wanted to find out what's the best T-shirt to make, where does it come from. So I'd basically go to the mall, go to a Nike store or Adidas, check the tags. Under the tags, you see this T-shirt is made in China. Okay, it's made in China. You go on Google, Chinese factories, clothing factories in China. You make contact, you make your first sample, then you move on, then your business grows. So research is one of the biggest things that helped me be who I am today. And business advice I'd like to give you guys today is that, I know it sounds wrong, but don't ask for support, you know? Just make sure your product is good enough for people to actually buy it. So if your product basically has to speak for itself. So if I put my sunglasses here and I step away, your customers must basically buy it or not buy it. If they're not buying it, then you have to go back to the drawing board and fix the product so it can sell itself. Because you don't want to be in a business where you have to convince people to buy your stuff. You know what I mean? So make sure the product is A1, whether you're doing music, clothing, makeup, whether you're selling bread, just make sure the bread is A1, then everything will fall through. Thank you.
I feel it right when I feel the bass. I feel it right when I feel the bass. Feel like it's rags to riches. Even when stress is hitting. I feel it right when I feel the bass.
Give it up one more time for Trevor and Tatiso. But also, guys, kids, stay in school. Ne? Excited As mentioned before, we have amazing prizes up for grabs during the day and throughout our YouthX campaign. You will see the promoters are on the ground to help you guys open a Nedbank Pay You account. If you guys sign up today, your name will be entered into a draw to win spot prizes throughout the day, and you will also be entered into a bigger draw because why didn't go put money? Oh, put money. Thank you. The bigger draw is also open to everyone who is also joining us virtually. Ababasemakaya, if you are a new Pay You client, you stand a chance to win 15,000 Rand and 700 Rand in YouthX merchandise, including a t-shirt, a cap, and shorts. And if you are an existing Pay You or Unlocked.me client, you stand a chance to win a gaming console to the value of 13,000 Rand. Hey, Glenn. I'm going to uyayibona ka ndayithatha mna ndawuhamba nayo mna Okay. You guys can also win merchandise online by engaging with us on the YouthX app. Just click on the hamburger menu on the right side of your screen, select polls, answer the questions, and you could win yourself some cool prizes. Now, the next person is a beautiful and amazing change maker, and literally he represents the culinary subcategory. Miso, also known as a mixology, is an entrepreneur, DJ, and a mixologist. I'm sure at this point, what is it that you don't do? He is inspired by his love for music. Miso hopes to inspire like-minded individuals, and it also helps that he makes a mean cocktail. Give it up for mixology. All right. Let me get my remote. Thank you. Hello. Am I clear? Hello, guys. How are you guys doing? So, guys, my name is Miso. I'm a mixologist, but I just want to explain this real quick. So, my name is Miso. I'm doing mixology. So, the two names, or the two words together, just brought some mixology. And that really culminates who I really am. I mix up everything. I'm really about everything creative, and I'm really about my career, you know? So, first things first. Before I get any further, I'm from Joburg, and I'd like to tell you guys more about me and my story, how it came about. So, Miso's a Joburg-based mixologist, born and bred in the city of gold. I've always been one to explore avenues and fields I really have a passion in. So, mixology was one of the things that just had to happen, because I love food and all of those things. But it did happen in a very coincidental manner. Me and my friends, over here, you'll see me in the middle over there, we started out an events company. And, I mean, in events, you run up on costs and all of those things, and you try to make it work. So, I became a DJ because of that. We're trying to cut costs. We didn't want to pay for certain things. So I was like, you know what? Let me actually just cut the costs and become a DJ, and let's see how this goes. So here's the DJ. But I wasn't mixology at this point. So I was still Matt Black. And Matt Black started out with an event called High School Cool with friends of mine. We started a company called Until. But Until started to evolve into a very different thing. We started to do more agency work. We started to do events because, I mean, some of you may share the sentiments. You go to parties, there's certain things you don't like, there's certain things you might change, there's certain things that might not just do it for you. So I thought to my friends, look, the best way to do this is to just do it ourselves. So we did a party. We started to come up with ideas and all of that, and then the agency work started to come in. So brands needed to now sponsor our events because we didn't have the capital to actually do what we wanted to do. So we started to do market research for a big company. I won't mention the name. And the way we did this was we did 10 dinners. So in those 10 dinners, we invited people that we know from different backgrounds, different vocations, different careers, and we're like, we want to just find out more about how people consume telecommunications. So whatever network that you use, you're trying to see why people choose those networks or whatever else. But I found an opportunity. I was like, actually, I'm not really interested in this agency work, but then I'm interested in the food that's going to be served at these dinners. So I was like, actually, I'm going to volunteer to sit at that table. I'm going to volunteer and tell them that I'll make the drinks. Now, one of the brands that we were working with, a big brand as well, which I won't mention, they helped us out with stock. But with that stock, we could only really make cocktails with them. So now remember, it's 10 dinners. I have to serve 10 people, and now I've never done this thing before. So I was like, okay, guys, I'm going to make these drinks. They gave me recipe cards. They gave us a stock of alcohol, and I mixed those cocktails. Now, in these dinners is where the name mixology actually came up. I wasn't the genius behind it. It was actually a very good friend of mine who thought it would be good.
So we did the market research, I did those 10 dinners. I started to get feedback about these drinks that I was actually doing. And at the time, I didn't know anything about mixology. I didn't even know there was such a thing, because people usually, and maybe some of you will actually agree with me with this, people usually go to bartending and, okay, let me track back. Bartending is the same as mixology, but then mixologist creates cocktails for a living and actually trains people on how to consume and make those cocktails. So I was like, okay, I'm actually going to do this thing for real. Now, to fast forward, people usually only do bartending as a means to an end. So you do bartending while you are studying, while you are whatever, like you're unemployed or whatever else. It's not seen as a real career. And unfortunately, I was like, no, I see the gap here. I see that at events, there's not much cocktails that you get. We get the same cocktails everywhere. And I was starting to go to places where they actually served really good cocktails. And I was like, okay, I can actually hone in this skill and do it. So one day, me and my mates went to Whiskey Live. It's an event that they do in Joburg, Sandton Convention Center. After going there, after experiencing all the stalls with all the brands, I saw that, no, man, this thing, I could actually make money from it. So I started my own mobile bar service. But before that, I started out by teaching myself, or rather not me teaching myself, but I put myself in the position where I could be taught about this career that I was doing. So I went to a bar. Initially, I was just going for a meeting with a friend, and I just wanted to find out more, just sort of get advice from the owners, all of that. They liked my personality, and they were like, okay, Miso, if you're interested. At the time, I wasn't really doing anything, and I just left my company that I was working with before with the events. So they were like, come through, come behind the bar. Even if you don't know anything, you're going to learn things behind the bar. So I was fortunate enough to just be given a job right there on the spot. But I worked at this job for like 3 years. I mean, no, 3 weeks, jeez. 3 weeks. And then a good friend of mine called me over, and he's like, no, mate, actually, I think the best thing for you to do is to come through and open up a bar with me, and let's run it, and you can learn as you go. So I did just that. So again, I did just that, and that's where my mixology career started to sort of take off, you know? So then at this bar, so I had no experience, guys. I had no experience whatsoever. I started to do more with my music. Now, the music which started with my events company, I started to do more with the mixology part of things. Now I just needed to hone in the people, you know? So this bar work, this is the first bar that I worked at, and it's at Jameli in Bryanston and in Joburg. So I did that work and all of that. But what's most important about my work is that without people, you won't get people consuming your drinks. So I thought, okay, I can do my DJing, I can do my music, and I can bring the people together. So right here, what you're seeing is one of my events that I do, Moonshine Vibe and The Cure. So The Cure is a property that I started out with a friend of mine, and that's exactly the platform that I needed to really show people and showcase to people what can be done with my vocation. So now, Mixology is a successful bar company, and we do mobile bar services. I train bartenders every day. I do master classes for people. So one of my first big sort of events that I did with my career was Mixology masterclasses. So Mixology masterclasses is literally you come through, you pay a certain fee, and I teach you how to make certain cocktails. Just even at home, you know? But this wouldn't have been possible without the opportunities that I was given. So one thing about opportunities is that you have to either identify them or they are either given to you. And this man right here is the man that took me out to the first bar that I actually worked at, and he taught me everything about the hospitality business. Now I see that this vocation that I've taken on can make money, and it's not a means to an end. It's not where you start to get somewhere. Whatever you do, guys, it can be grassroots level. Everything can make you money, but then you have to share the passion for it in order to put in the time, because without that, it all just feels like a job. And when it starts feeling like a job, that's when you're not so passionate about what you're doing. If you're interested in something, familiarize yourself with it like it's your favorite song that you want to know the lyrics to. One attempt won't do it for you. Put it on repeat and keep playing that track. Eventually, you'll catch on to every essence of it. And that's a true enjoyment and the financial rewards. That's where true enjoyment and where the financial rewards actually come. Best business advice? Guys, I have this chat quite often. The people around you, your network, is your most important asset. You have to harness and take care of the people around you. Either just support or whatever way. People now open up to helping you out, you know? And also, especially in the environment that you would be working in, whether it's fashion, whether it's music, whatever else, you get to places through people. So, umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu, basho kanjalo ngithi. So, often bartending, oh well, I have said that. So often bartending is seen as an interim thing. But guys, the one thing I'll leave with you right now is there is no such thing as a means to an end. Whatever you do, whether it's janitorial services, whether it's cooking, whether it's doing whatever, if you think you're good at it, learn, and learn it best you can. Because there's a lot of information that's at your disposal. All you need to do is actually act on it. All right. Thank you.
All right, let's give it one more time for Miso. Now let's welcome our last changemaker within the arts and culture category, an award-winning professional dancer who has toured the world and developed partnerships with global and local brands. She is inspired by the youth. She works with Shapa Soweto and is an avid advocate for breaking racial and gender-based stereotypes to the dance and arts industry. Give it up for Taryn Alberts.
Sundays, I'm busy, Mondays, I live on my choice, you pronoun shows up, I some indoors, I'm on my work performer, Sundays, I'm busy, Mondays, I live on my choice, you pronoun shows up, I some indoors, I'm on my work performer,
When I say away, you say exe, away, exe. Thank you. I'm humbled and excited to be here and to share my story with you. I'm from Eldorado Park, one of many townships in Soweto, Johannesburg. I'm a Nike master trainer for dance at our Athlete Center, Shapa Soweto, professional dancer, actress, founder and director of So Dope Dance Academy. I started training at the age of 9. By the time I was 17, I turned pro, meaning I was getting booked for live shows and television ads. When I was 18, I matriculated from school and I already knew that I was going to be a performer. However, I had an opportunity to go and live in Germany for a year and work with school children and senior citizens. While I was away, I started networking with dancers, choreographers, agents, looking for different ways to get into the industry. I was super determined to make my mark. I really wanted to be one of South Africa's best dancers. I joined a dance crew, a Vogue dance crew to be exact. We were called Vintage at the time. Our first debut was on ETV, Step Up or Step Out dance competition. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but it helped us move up in the industry. I need to make mention that at the time, we were the first LGBTQ crew, dance crew, on television. We were possibly one of the most hated you know, the stigmas around being gay or lesbian. We were really breaking barriers. We were speaking out. We were literally that crew with men in heels, dancing in heels. As that moved on, we got booked for TV ads with Coca-Cola, Edgar's legit, so many brands, you know. We did music videos for some of South Africa's biggest acts. Some of the live shows included Summer's, Metro FM Awards, Channel O Awards, the list is endless. A highlight moment for me was going on tour with Kendrick Lamar when he was in South Africa. I grew from that experience. And I wanted more. I wanted to travel the world, and I never stopped dancing. In 2013, I won a dance competition, Sprite Uncontainable, and the prize was to go overseas to the US. And there, I had to perform at the NBA All-Star Game in New Orleans for the celebrity match. How cool is that? I actually performed during the celebrity halftime game. I mean, like, Lil Romeo was there, guys. People like Snoop Dogg, you know? I truly felt like my talent was recognized, not only in my craft, but as a black female from previously disadvantaged upbringing. I continued to push, I stayed focused, and I knew that at some point I would go back and work in the US. I mean, I was thinking like, I need to make dollars, y'all. I want a different currency. I need to come back home and feed my family, you know? You know what I mean? And I continued to push. 3 years had passed, and I was at a turning point in my life, and I really wanted to give up. The pressure of reality started to sink in. You know that moment in your life, you're like, I have a dream, I have an ambition, I want to be something, and then nothing happens. It's just like stagnant, dead, no one supports you. Your family at home is like, oh, we need bread, we need food, we don't need dance moves, we need food to eat. So that was happening, and then I was like, oh, I need a real job, but no, I didn't give up. I pushed myself, and then I got a call from a friend saying, we have an opportunity to audition for rap rave group The Antwoord. And in that moment, we were presented with an opportunity to go on 6 world tours. You know, that happened for 4 years. I was on tour with an amazing team. I saw Paris 5 times in all seasons of, you know, summer, spring, winter, summer. Thank God, I was so blessed. I got another opportunity to go back on tour with them. And backtrack, this moment was exactly how I knew I would monetize my career, right? As I was saying, I was faced with the situation of going to find a normal job, but this came, and then I knew that this is how I was going to pay for my bills, this is how I was going to look after my family, this is how I was going to pay for an education, and this is the moment where I knew later I would start a business. After traveling for a while, I really wanted to reinvent myself, or rather my brand, create something I had a deep passion for, and that was to work with children and youth. So as I was traveling and seeing all these places and engaging people, and you know, you're in an arena of 60,000 people and you think that's enough, and you're like, hi, we made it, we got the dollars, but there was this deep burning passion inside of me that I needed to reach out to the youth and the kids, especially in my community where I come from. And I turned down the opportunity to go on tour, so I registered So Dope Dance Academy, a school and an agency that serves disenfranchised communities through dance training and meditation for free. Our aim was to target youth in rough communities, right? And just by keeping them busy, getting them off the street, and most importantly, getting them booked for work. So I employ young kids between the ages of 6. My youngest employee is 6 years old. He just recently did an advert for Chicken Licken. Please check out for him. I basically go out and I look for career opportunities for these kids so that they can start building and working on that, and also just go back home with a paycheck, you know, to feed their families and to make it a reality. Because sometimes it's just a dream and you're like, oh, it's just a dream, but dreams can turn into something that you can monetize and capitalize from and, you know, love your life. Anyway, 5 years later, our business has partnered with Shapa Soweto, an athlete center focused on nurturing young talent, and our business is now based there. So I have some advice that I'd like to share with you. Create a brand. What is that? Create a logo, create a mission statement, create a feel, and you know, your marketing is always, it's like Nedbank. It's Nedbank, 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 Nedbank. It's green, it's green. You understand what I'm saying? They've created it, and it's like, we know that's Nedbank. We know that's so dope. We know that's Nike. When you see it, it's Nike. You know what I mean? Ask for feedback from your friends and your family, but really ask feedback from the people that actually care about you, and not the ones that's going to try and kill your idea and say, oh, no shame, that's not going to work. Speak to people that really care and you know, like, care about you and what you want to do. I always ask my kids for feedback. I'm a piano dancer, but I ask them for feedback. So especially with this thing, I'm like, guys, is it yes, yes, or is it no, no? Which one? You know? So feedback is very important. Be mentally prepared to start a business. And I just want to share a small little story about that. Before I joined, or rather partnered with Shapa Soweto, this was in 2019. Nike Europe had come from Europe to come into my community. How crazy is that? Nike rep phoned me, was like, yo, T, Nike Europe is here. Please, we need you to present something. You know, just off the top of the moment, like putting me on the spot. I wasn't really prepared, but the thing is, I'd prepared for this moment for 10 years. I've been waiting for this moment my whole life, and now is the time, you know? In walks these people, big bosses, you know, old white people. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do this. A few months later, they hit me back. They pitch an idea to me, asking me if I wanna be involved. This is where they presented the Nike Master Trainer for Dance. And I grabbed the opportunity and I was like, this is it. I'm gonna take it, because at that time, 2020, you know, we were under lockdown, strict rules for like 2 years. I had to shut down my business. I literally watched my kids leave and like get lost in social ills that they were faced with. They were going through the most. I was literally like their older sister, holding it down for them, always speaking to them, motivating them, they were at my house every day. I had a double garage and I made it into a dance studio. And because we had to shut down our business, that stopped, and so did their motivation. I lost my kids. I got evicted. I was with a 3-month baby. We were living like out of a car for a few months. Everything was just going wrong, and I knew that this was going to happen. Shapa Soweto, I knew that that was in our future, you know. But I feel like at that moment, I had to go through those trials because I had to rework my mental. I had to refocus my mind. I had to refocus my thoughts as to what I thought about my business. You know, they say in the Bible, what you think is what you become. So I had to change the way I thought about my business, the kids that I'm impacting, and what needs to be done. Guys, it was tough. I'm sure you all had a tough time in those 2 years. But we're here. We made it. I pushed through that, and I pushed. I'm a resilient person. I'm tough like nails, eh? So I went back. I went to each and every child's house, and I was like, kom ons gaan nou, you know? And the opportunity was there. We're in a world-class facility, you know? Our business is partnered. We're not working for, we're working with the brand, you know? Another thing is, pitch your idea to professionals. This is what I did. I didn't just go to some random person that's going to be like, oh, sorry, we don't have money, because, you know, people, they never have money to help you. So, yeah, pitch your idea to professionals, build a team, People make people. No man is an island. You can't think, no, I'm fine, I can do it. You can't. You need people to help you. I literally have a team of 4 people who assist me with what I need to do, especially when it comes to the kids. And to be honest, I really want to see my business grow into a franchise to create more work opportunities for our youth, and especially, guys, I mean, the young people, how can you not love them, you know? Another thing is, lastly, don't lose interest in your product or your service. In the beginning, it's rough. It's like that. Things are always going to get tough, but tough situations make tough people. And I feel like when you have that God-given calling upon your life, the purpose, whatever it is, then you need to push, and you need to push and push, because those are the people that's usually faced with the most challenges. Anyway, moving on. I would say, find a way or make one. Like literally, find a way or make one. In Latin, nothing is impossible. You will never succeed in business if you don't feel compelled to work hard for your achievements. Doing anything by half measures will only get you halfway to success. Joyce Meyer wrote in her book, Never Give Up. I encourage you to fan the flame inside until it burns brightly. Never give up on the greatness for which you were created. And then, lastly, I really feel like there needs to be more opportunities opened within in our industry, such as mass participation at school level. We recently just completed a program called the DSSL, Dance School Sports League, which is now introduced to kids in primary school and high school to take part in dance. And another thing is make dance sport recognized in the curricula. You know, not everyone is academics, not everybody is a tech person. Some people are creatives, and I feel like there's a lack of that in schools. As dance grows, it is acknowledged in Olympics, such as the one-on-one breakdancing, you know, dance league on regional and a national level, and also incentives through our sponsors and donors, such as YouthX, Nedbank, you know, just to inspire our younger kids to be change makers in their adult life. Thank you so much for having me. I'm over there. If you have any questions, whatever you want to know, we out here, boy.
That is beautiful, sis. All right, ladies and gents, we can all agree that we have thought once upon in our lives, I wish that they had taught me this in school when trying to plan your budget, trying to figure out what do you need in terms of a loan and when do you not need a loan, when to save or when to focus on your debt. But that is what Money Talks are here for. Today we are joined by Vasi Govender from Nedbank, who will be discussing how to set yourself up and your business for financial success. And after that, we're going to have a 15-minute break with a DJ and maybe just, you know, get some things, just to get some refreshments. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Vasi Govender.
Thank you.
I'm a number 10.
Good afternoon, everyone. What a lovely day to be spending with you, and look at the crowd that we have. So thank you for showing up today. So as you heard, I'm Vasi and I'm from Nedbank. And today I'm going to talk to you about the banker's perspective. So what is it that we see? What should you know about how we look at things? And it's really about helping you grow your business. So you heard it from Trevor all the way through to Taryn. They see you that you needed to have self-belief. There had to be a passion, there was a dream. And how do you ignite this? Who do you go to? What do you do when you have this idea and this passion and you want to start your business? What is it that you do? Who should you turn to? The banks are often closed doors, so how are you going to get that door open? But that's why Nedbank's created a platform like YouthX to tell you that we're here to partner with you. We're here to help you make that dream come true, make that a reality. Okay? So there's mistakes that people make, and we want to avoid you falling into that trap. And from a banker's perspective, sometimes we get to see it all. So we thought that we'll share some of the fundamentals with you today. So as bankers, you would know that we're pretty black and white people, right? There's no gray area with us. And we're highly analytical. We're very detailed in terms of the information that we want, and we operate in a very regulated environment. So we're governed by all kinds of rules and legislation that we need to conform with, and we're relatively conservative risk takers. But we do have financial expertise, and that's what you're relying on. So as entrepreneurs, you are the creative, fun people, like we've seen, arts and culture, all the nice fun side to things. You self-starters, you go-getters, you're extremely enthusiastic, very determined and confident, optimistic, adventurous, and of course, risk-takers. But we've got something, and you want what we have. So how do we meet common ground with each other? And let's explore that a bit. So let us help you make that dream your reality, okay? So we definitely have the funding, but you need it. How do you get it? Because often the doors are so tightly shut that you can't open it. So let us help you make your vision a reality. And the one thing I do want to say to you is that if you believe businesses is built on relationships, make it your business to build relationships. And one of those relationships is with your bank. Don't be afraid to talk to us. Tell us what's going on. Tell us your vision. Tell us what your plans are. Be open, honest, share what your thoughts are. But just to speak of it from a banker's perspective, and you'd see that I put up a shoe there. So walk in our shoes, and let's see how this feels. Okay. Equip the bank to understand what your business is about. So often you have a passion, you have an idea, you have a vision, but we need you to transpose that to show us exactly what you want to do, where you're going. So it might be baby steps, it might start out as a micro enterprise, and it could end up as a corporate, it could end up as a really big commercial business. But be able to express that, let us understand it. Keep your documents in order, and when I say keep your documents in order, I'm talking about know what your expenses are, know what your income is, be able to work out what your margins are in terms of your profit. Because when you're scaling an order, you need to be able to negotiate. And in order to negotiate, you need to know, what is my break even? Where do I cut my losses here? Am I making profit or is it a loss? Understand what the bank can and can't do. We can solve many problems, but we don't necessarily solve all the problems. Build and maintain a good credit record. Now guys, I can't stress this enough. Everything that is linked to you as an individual is linked on a credit bureau. So if you pay an account late, that gets a point reduced. If you are in arrears, that doesn't bode very well for you. If you handed over or didn't pay an account, that also affects your score. So please build a good credit record. Sometimes we think that it's okay to pay an account a day or two late. But if your due date is a particular date, make sure that you pay it on that date. And then get to know your banker and what the options are. Because we need an ideal product fit. Don't take the wrong product for the incorrect use. So when you're applying for finance, what is it that you should do? Like I said, keep the channels of communication open with your bank. Let them understand your need and let them advise you on what is the best funding option. It could be a short-term product, it could be a medium-term finance that you need, or it could be long-term. And pitch and prepare that when you go into this meeting with the bank, as if you are going to an absolutely big sales contract that you're chasing. So know it in and out. Be absolutely confident about what you need. Do your research, be thorough, and present a good story. Prepare and provide us with your financial records, because sometimes everything's in your head, or you know that you're making money. But like I said to you in the beginning, we are black and white people. We need to see what's on paper. Your financial statements or your financial records, keep an income statement, keep a balance sheet, know whether you're making a profit, know where you stand. In terms of your management accounts, now often you'd have financial statements and then we need a view in terms of what management accounts look like. So that is in preparation up to a certain point post your financial statements. Know about how long your debtor is taking to pay you, so that you can negotiate the terms with your creditor. And ideally, your creditor terms needs to be longer than your debtor terms. Prepare a cash flow forecast. So know what you're going to need. I'm going to be short in this month, therefore I need a facility to help me. I need an overdraft of an amount that's going to cover the shortfall. And that's what we say when we talk about prepare a cash flow forecast. And present us with your personal possession statement. So your assets, your liabilities, what does your income and expenditure look like? And like I said, present a clean credit record. So when we talk about who is backing the business, you'd often hear the term about a jockey. Who's the jockey behind this business? That is you, that is the individual. Who are we looking at behind this business? And first impressions count, right? So don't be unprepared for your meeting. Be sure about what you want and be able to clearly express that. Avoid hypothetical situations and be factual. Your businesses are the most important part of business sustainability. Your finance actually is the most important part of your business sustainability. And when you're engaging with your banker, don't withhold information. Tell it like it is, so we can seek the direction to find the help for you. The other thing that you need to do is keep your business profits separate and your personal banking separate. Don't muddle the two, because then we don't have a clear picture of exactly what sits where. So like I said, open a bank account. You heard earlier about the Nedbank pay-as-you-use account. Open a bank account. Keep your business records separate. Keep your personal banking separate. So these are just the types of funding that I spoke about earlier in terms of your short-term finance. Short-term finance is often your credit card facilities, your overdraft, and your day-to-day financing. Medium-term would look at your vehicle. It's normally anything from 36 months to 60 months. And then your long-term funding is usually a property that you get a term of 20 years. So if you're looking for funding outside of banking, these are some of the options you could consider. Family and friends, but just be careful not to destroy any relationships with your family and friends. Then it's the crowdfunding in terms of the Thunder Fund, private investors, and the CFAs, and IDC and the government agencies. So thank you for showing up today. The fact that you've come here, you want to know what YouthX is about. It's a trigger, it's something. You heard Trevor speak about self-belief. You heard Taryn speak about the fire in your belly. You're here for a reason today. Explore that reason. Believe in yourself. Engage with the bank. We've provided you a platform to talk to us and let us help you see your money differently. Thank you.
ladies and gents. Now we're going to go on a break for 15 minutes and then uTJ wethu uzosihlalela umculo. Nisajayiva mas? Nilambeni nolamba, kanjayiveni? Dlala DJ.
ngawe ungangida oh mina ngiyazifela ngawe oh mina ngiyazifela ngawe awulavi davi nami ngiyazifela ngawe ungangida oh mina ngiyazifela ngawe oh mina ngiyazifela ngawe Tell abadini abafasi iphone ngizabatshela wamalume baletha inkomo ngicela ukutshela abadini abafasi iphone ngizabatshela wamalume baletha inkomo sizomlanda manje nayivula mlo asifuna ukuzwa lutho phela sikulu sizomlanda manje nayivula mlo ngaphandle kwakho ngaphandle kwakho ngaphandle kwakho ngaphandle kwakho hila hila hliziyo yam 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 esinturini suku iphupha ngawe okusuku inhliziyo ilimele sithandwa sami ngixolele Paula Paula hliziyo Paula Paula hliziyo Paula Paula hliziyo Paula
asifuna fire. Get down, shima get down. Why be anowenza so? Listen to the khona esenza chalesona nabantwana babaya and asifuna fire. Get down, shima get down. Why be anowenza so?
Zangugabani. 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 Zangugabani.
Dipache, ça fait l'eau. 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 Dipache,
Zangugabani.
ça fait l'eau.
Dipache, ça fait l'eau. Ufuna ngimsurprise, ngimdlise jello. Marubata dipache, ça fait l'eau. Ufuna ngimsurprise, ngimdlise jello.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the last installment of our day today, the power panel discussion. Now, you've all been submitting questions to our panel, to our power panel, and for them to answer right here on the stage. Changemakers, are you guys ready? To answer via social media and the YouthX platform. Now is the time to have all your burning questions answered by our power panel. Let's welcome our changemakers back onto the stage. And before we get into your questions, I'm just going to be asking them a couple of questions of my own. Let's give a round of applause for our changemakers.
Ngikukuza labafana bakho sebefike nemkhonto nabahawu manje nangomunye uzoyisusa usengiwakabi asivele singene emsamo usibeke idolo phansi sisuhlala phansi sixoxa indaba nabaphansi sengisho indaba encane sengisho indaba emnandi sengisho indaba encane sengisho indaba emnandi sengisho indaba encane hayibo wait sokukhona umfana omncane okhule ethanda ukushaya inamba efuna impilo esasepusha nabangani bakho khona bese ngoba ethi nice time ngikukuza labafana bakho sebefike nemkhonto nabahawu
All right, so before I hand over to the audience to ask some of the questions, is the roaming mic ready? Excellent. All right, so this is a question that is going to go to each and every one of the change makers. Now, what is the one piece of advice you would give to your younger self looking back at your journey? Mister, I'll start with you.
You started with me.
Oh, no.
Piece of advice I give my younger self is just leap. Do it and don't doubt yourself, because you really never know, you never really know where your steps forward can take you, you know? So just leap.
All right, and yourself, Trevor?
For me, I would say to be more grateful, because I think for the most part, things happen so quickly.
Yeah.
And it's as amazing as they are, it's easy to take them for granted.
Yeah.
And for you to focus on what's next instead of enjoying the current moment. So
Yeah.
I think it's taking time for gratitude.
Awesome. And yourself, Tati, so what is the one piece of advice you would give to your younger self looking back now?
For me, I think is to have faith, believe in yourself, never give up, and yeah, like start as soon as you can, basically. Yeah.
I think for myself as everyone said what I wanted to say, but it's fine. I would say you are validated. Your presence will be known, and don't give up, because we gon' be all right.
All right, and again, we'll start with you, Taryn, and then we'll move it that side. Not with you this time, Miss, because we can see stage fright. What is the best way to get into your particular industry? And I mean, as a dancer, entertainer, choreographer, what would you say to other people that want to get noticed out there?
I would say, as I mentioned in my talk, connect with dancers, connect with choreographers, connect with agencies, production companies, because those are the people that's going to book you for work. Another dancer knows somebody else that knows somebody else. Network, you know. Don't stop networking. There's no person that's actually holding the key and saying, oh, come, here's the door open. No, you need to speak to people, network, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Trust your craft and know that it's going to take you through those doors.
Absolutely amazing. And yourself, Judges?
For me, I make clothing for a living. So basically, the easiest way to start is to identify a brand you like, research the brand, research on how they do their things, and maybe if your first design, you can copy that brand, but eventually end up doing your own, coming up with your own style and developing your own style, and from there you just take it forward. So research, copy, it's not bad to copy. Copying is allowed, you know, then develop your own style, then move forward with it, basically.
All right, and yourself, Trevor?
For me, I guess, being in the visual space as well, you have to get your work out there. So it's important for you to document whatever you find beautiful, and I guess use the internet. That's a great asset, and that allows you to kind of reach markets that are beyond your imagination, and that allows you to also look back and track your growth. Because, for example, Instagram, it allows you to build a portfolio, which you don't necessarily, when you're starting out, need a website, because that's literally your business card, your website, and your ticket to your dreams. So I'd say utilize the digital space, and let that propel you forward.
Absolutely amazing. Miso, on your side?
Yeah, again.
Miso, I think I sabi English.
No, so from my experience, the biggest thing for me, again, and I'm going to repeat because I think it is very important, because it comes to us, it's the cheapest way to do it is social media. I exposed myself through social media. Every cocktail that I was doing, I put onto social media. People see that, and people gave me work based on that. And that's about it. I mean, live what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't forget to dye your hair blonde. Thank you. And then a question for you, Vasi Carpenter. What is the best piece of financial advice that you have ever received?
I think starting off as a child, you always had to save for a rainy day, and that holds you in good stead. I mean, if we look at what's happened to us in the past 2 years with COVID and lockdown and total freeze on many activities, that piggy bank and that rainy day saving definitely helps. So
Absolutely amazing. So literally, guys, keep on saving and save more than you spend. And for you, again, Vasi, what are the red flags you would look for when you're considering a loan for studies or for your business?
Well, one of the first things that we look at is your credit score.
Okay.
And that needs to hold well for you. So stay away from late accounts, being handed over, pay your bills timeously. And one of the big flaws that we find is student loans have not been paid up. It haunts you when you go into work life. So it follows you if it's not been paid up. It's against your name, it's against your ID number. So clear your debt and start on a clear page. I think the other thing is live within your means.
Yes.
Do not extend yourself, because those borrowings and that lifestyle that you're chasing might not be sustainable. So live within your means. And therefore that income and expenditure with the profit at the bottom makes the difference.
Absolutely amazing. Round of applause for our changemakers. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to ask a question to one of our changemakers? We've got a roaming mic. We see a hand.
Testing.
There you go.
There.
There, on the left.
Nancy, Mike, stand. Please stand. Please give us your name and which changemaker you'd like to ask in your question.
My name is Nadia Mukai. I'm from the Eastern Cape. Also, my question is for all of them. My question is based on faith and patience. So I want to know what role God did play with i-career zabo, and how did he play it kubo, and uzibonise njani ukuthi he is God?
Thank you. Hallelujah.
Okay. The role God played in my career and my path. I mean, it all comes down to just the basic rules. Like, have faith in what you're actually doing, and also, God doesn't help those who don't help themselves. So, really, just arm yourself with the knowledge, arm yourself with everything that you need to actually go further. God will do everything else. You just need to do your part.
And that is absolutely amazing coming from you, Miso, because his son
Coming from me.
is literally the original mixologist, water to wine. And yourself, Vasi.
I think just keep the faith. You need the self-belief, keep the faith. If God takes you to it, he will take you through it. So just keep believing.
Trevor?
Yeah, I guess just to add on to what everyone has said, meet God halfway. So I think it's important that you pray, but also that you do the work. Because prayer without action means nothing, you know. So, yeah.
Very important. I think God helps those who help themselves. And yourself, Tess?
For me, basically, God helped me to see something that didn't exist. So basically, I had a lot of faith in what I was doing, and even though nothing was happening, he helped me see it and guarantee that I'll be here today, basically.
All right. And yourself, Taryn?
Yeah, I'm not that person though, but I'll share.
Whatever you believe
No,
in.
I mean, I come from a church background, and I
Yeah.
grew up in the church, and I was that person. And then, you know, a lot of things happen, and then the church or the people in the church break your heart, and you stray away, right? So I was gone away for a long time, until I was really faced with a tough decision in my life where I was totally depressed, and I was alone, and I was pregnant, and I didn't know. I mean, I shared my story, and I told you we were homeless, and that was the point where I had to find God again, you know? And I had to really believe and just trust that God is going to take me through this for a reason. And I mean, now I have a faith, and now I believe that he's always with me. He's always been, he's never left me. So it's fine to stray away sometimes, and just always know that God is always there, and he's always going to guide you in your business, in your life, whatever it is.
Absolutely amazing. I've heard of the prodigal son, and this is the dancing daughter. All right, can I please have another question from the audience? Oh, there we are. Please stand up, give us your name and your question, my love.
Hello everyone, my name is Opindile Mkiz. So I just want to confirm, am I allowed to ask like 3 of the changemakers 3 different questions? Can I do that?
Sure, go for it.
Oh, okay, so firstly I have a question for Umi. So you mentioned something about a particular company that you didn't mention that funded you with, I don't know, the colas or whatever to mix your cocktails. So I want maybe to get clarity, how about did they come to you, or it was you who went to knock on their door for them to actually assist you?
Sure, okay. The company actually came to me, but this was a journey. So before I had people knocking on my door, I literally was doing the work behind the scenes and mixing cocktails with the brands and all of that, and then they started to notice me, you know. Sometimes we should just, when we're doing things, sure, we're doing it so that we get noticed or whatever else, but then also make sure that you're doing it because this is exactly what will sort of, how do I say it? It's like, so it's just a way to further yourself. So you show that you are really about it and you're really immersed in your career, and the way you show that is by exposing yourself, like on social media. I was posting those videos of the cocktails. I was playing around with the alcohol. I was doing all of that stuff. So that was one of the ways that I actually got the brands working with me.
All right, awesome. Next change maker, next question.
My next question is for Vasi. Vasi, I got the name right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So the question is, you mentioned something about savings, like that we should save. That's the first step when you want to start something. But I just want to know, how do you go about saving when you are living on a day-by-day budget? Like the little I get, I have necessities to meet on a daily basis. So how do you go on about and save in that situation?
That's an extremely good question, and I think we all find ourselves in that position in terms of there's just so much. It's a limited, it's not an endless supply of money that we have. But I think one of the key things to do is to prioritize. Is it a need? Is it a want? And try and take a little piece out of it. It doesn't matter whether you cut down 5 Rand, 10 Rand, all of that soon accumulates. So if I can reflect and tell you what I did, is when I got a permanent job, I set aside that I was going to put away 200 Rand a month. It was money that I didn't have initially. I wasn't going to miss it. And it just went off every single month. And I think a couple of years later, I got up to 40,000. And when I got up to 40,000, I said, yeah, my transfer duty is sorted. I can now buy a flat. So it's the discipline about just putting that little amount away. Thanks.
Okay, my last question is for, I think it's Tad, if I got the name right.
Yes.
So the question is based on, there was that point there written, do not ask for help. So what I really want to know is, how do you, like, it's confusing because, okay, I don't want to get deep into this question, but some of you guys say we must network, right? And then how do you go on and network with people but don't show a sense of being desperate or something? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that me, ne? Yeah.
What's the question directed
That was
to?
Tati.
Well, it's me.
Oh,
It
Tati.
was,
Yes.
it's you.
So,
Don't ask for support. That's what she was asking.
Oh, don't ask for support. Oh. What I meant by that is that, like, make sure your product speak for itself. Like, if you make a song, make sure that you don't have to bother someone. Hey, please play my song. Hey, just play the song. Then he'll decide if he'll play the song on radio or whatever. You know what I mean? So, obviously, you have to promote the song and all that, but make sure that you're promoting something that's worthwhile playing. So work on the product, make sure it's worthwhile, and the rest will do itself, basically. That's what I meant.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have another question from the audience? Okay, the gentleman there.
My question is directed to Mr. Do Galaxy Boy.
Pardon?
Galaxy Ball.
Galaxy Boy. So you said there was a time where your business fell, right? And then it rose again. So what are the things that you are doing differently now that you were not doing back then? Okay. And also my other question is that are we gonna maybe looking forward, maybe find a collaboration of Galaxy Boy and maybe Drip, I'm making an example, or any other in the future coming, a collaboration of your brand Galaxy Boy and the other South African local brand?
Okay. First question is, what am I doing now that I did before, that I didn't do before? So obviously now I know what not to do and what to do, and obviously I'm more mature now, and I'm conscious about my decisions in terms of business, and obviously the product and selling part I already know. So now in the business, I
Stand there. What? There's some flame.
What are you burning?
Flame.
I'm burning.
Yes.
It looked like you were on
Yes,
fire.
it looked like you were on
It was literally the lights.
So basically, I've learned from my mistakes, and I now listen to advice. I listen to people. I don't work alone. I have a group of people that I I pose questions to and get opinions. So basically, yeah, you have to go through it in order to know what to do. Abo? And the other question about collaboration, basically our brand is open to collaborating with anyone as long as you come with a good product. It doesn't matter who you are. As long as it's good and we can make money off of it, then we can work. It can be any of you in this crowd. As long as the product is good, I can collaborate with you and maybe do something bigger. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. All right, and I checked, there's a question. There's a question that's, wait, oh, there.
These lights are hectic, huh?
Sanibonani.
Hello, hello.
Igama lami uKhanyisani Wangcobo. So ngicela ukubuza uMrs Miss walo dila ne-financial. So yini engakwazi ngizwe nithi niyakwazi ukusiza abantu aba-blacklisted. So nibasiza kanjani abantu aba-blacklisted ukuthi nikwazi ukubanika ama-grant or funding. Okwesibili yini as mina ngumuntu already otradeayo yini efanele ngiyisubmithe kunina. I have already registered company, so yini efanele ngiyiphathe and then nikwazi ukuthi ningisize ngithole i-grant. Ngiyabonga.
I didn't quite hear that properly.
All right, do you mind just repeating that question, the first question?
Oh, ngithe
Ngayisondeza mic.
bathe bayakwazi ukusiza, they can able to ukusiza abantu aba-blacklisted. So umbuzo wami ufuna ukwazi bazobasiza kanjani abantu aba-blacklisted to ukwazi ukuthola i-grant kwa-Nedbank.
Oh, all right. I think that one is for, Vasi. The question is, in terms of helping people that are blacklisted, as a service that you guys offer, how do you then, basically, how does a person qualify to be helped out in terms of them being taken out of being blacklisted?
Okay, thanks for that. So, depending on what the blacklisting is, it could be an adverse, it could be a judgment, or handed over with legal action. We're going to need to have a look of proof of settlement. And once there's proof of settlement, there's a process to follow in terms of going back to the respective credit bureaus to having that uplifted. So if the debt has been settled and it's a process that hasn't been finalized as yet, but you've got proof to show us that it's settled in full and here's the letter from the respective store or whatever the case is, you can submit that to us whilst the process takes place. So it doesn't stop us from looking at an application for you. We could factor that in as a portfolio of evidence that you have made good on that debt and we can go forward.
All right, thank you so much for that question and that answer, Vasi. Is there anyone else? There we are.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sula, and my question is directed to Mr. Trevor. I'm very interested in filming and storytelling, so I wanted to ask, what kept you what kept you going in terms of making your dreams come true in this difficult industry?
For me, I'd say what keeps me going is my understanding of where I come from. Just, I guess, growing up in a small town with very limited resources and almost just a future that did not look promising. That motivates me to wake up every day and work hard and to ensure that I don't go back home and to ensure that I work towards making multiple homes for myself outside of, my understanding of what home is. So I think for me, that's my biggest motivation.
All right, we've got a question from the audience, from the lady there.
Oh, next. Next.
Claire,
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Mbali Zungu. My baby is grandma's home cook, just so you know. Be on the watch. Yes, my baby.
Yes, Raquel.
Yes, so be on the lookout. You'll see me sometime, whenever, when everything's good. So I basically have 3 questions. Oh, I'm representing Coastal College. All right. So I have a question for Trevor. First, how do you ensure that your work stands out and that you ensure you do not drift away from your style, but you keep up with the time? As you know that technology gradually grows year in, year out. How do you ensure that you stick to what you believe in and yet your work still stands out?
I guess understanding that there are trends is important, but also understanding that it's like 2 parts. It's like you could, let's think of it in a music type of setting. You could make a song that's a hit today and that speaks to a genre that's happening now, or you can stick true to who you are and create a timeless song. So how I see what I do is timeless. It's not limited to a certain trend or a certain movement that is culturally happening or that is culturally, I guess, I think it's important to stay true to who you are throughout, because trends come and go and yet you are here forever. And I feel like what I'm doing is something that I'll be doing for the rest of my life, so I can never ever limit it to a time period where everyone understood the world as one thing. So I hope that answers.
Thank you. So the next question is for Vasi. So being a young person, we often make stupid decisions that lead us to, like, the next day being bankrupt. You know what it does. So what would be your ideal advice to us young people to be like money smart, so that we do not, like, for young entrepreneurs rather, so that we don't fall in this kind of trap and then the next day we will be forced to forget about that idea. We do not have money to keep it going the next day. Like, what would be your ideal advice, like, for us to stick to it and that we keep going? Because, you know, we're still trying and we make stupid decisions that, like oh, jeez. Yeah, you get what I mean.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So I think in order to avoid falling into the trap of making some silly decisions that we might regret, as partners, seek advice upfront. And if we've already gone down the rabbit hole and it's a bit late and we need to recover from it, still seek advice. Because everything that we do, we can recover from, and it all depends to the extent in which it's gone wrong or that you need to have a look at it. So before you make any major financial decision, make any purchase or lay out any deposits that would dig a real hole in your pocket, just think about it. Seek a second opinion. Go and ask somebody for financial advice. We've got chatbots on our Nedbank sites that can give you advice. We've got call center agents within the branch. We've got advisors that's always available. So when I spoke earlier, I said build a relationship with your bank. And that's why it's so important, because we don't charge for the advice that we give. So why not use what sits with us in terms of that financial expertise? Thanks.
Thank you. My last question is for Tatiso. I hope I pronounced it right. You know, they say failure makes you stronger and it makes you much wiser. So you mentioned that there was a point that you had to shut down your business, you had to close down and start all over again. You know, that could be very tiring and everything. So what was your go-to motto that, like, drove you into rebuilding and restarting all your business all over again? Like, what was your ideal? What was the sentence that drove you into starting all over again?
Well, I basically had no choice. That's just it. I had no choice. I had to work hard to get back where I was. So I had no choice. I just had to put my head down, not listen to whatever people were saying about your brand it's trash, your store closed down, blah blah blah. So I had to put my head down, just work my way back up. And yeah, literally I had no choice. I don't like school, so I didn't want to go back to school. So I really had no choice, and I had to.
You had to make it work.
I had to make it work, and it's something I really wanted, so I couldn't even give up. So yeah, I think I had no choice. I just had to do it.
Yeah.
It was literally that you had no choice but to do it.
Excuse me?
So it was literally that you had no choice but to do it. That was your motive.
Yeah, I had no choice and I had to do it, and it was something I wanted to do. And I wasn't losing anything by doing it again. I wasn't losing anything. So yeah, basically.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Tatiso. And just to add on, it was no choice but to do it, and also Andy Eskolwin. All right, we've got another question right there at the back.
Sanbonani, my name is Lex Lafoy, rapper, writer, creative project manager. Thank you. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you so much to Nedbank for bringing these amazing, inspiring, transcendental pioneers to Durban. Thank you so much. My question for the panel is, how do you stay grounded, and or what is your particular wellness routine? Because I know that our industry is crazy. We've lost people to suicide. We often suffer depression and anxiety. So in terms of your wellness, your mental health, and your groundedness, how do you stay grounded? Ngiyabonga.
Of course.
Okay. How do I stay grounded? So, big figures in my life, and probably the most important figures in my life, are the people that I've chosen to be in my life. So, those are the people that support me, those are the people that are honest with me, those are the people that really give me motivation to really go on. Another thing about that is that my friends are very blunt with the expectations that we set for ourselves. The most important thing is just focus on yourself, because a lot of the pressures that are self-induced are self-induced. You know, it's all up to us, and it's the psyche that we're in. Just be strong-minded, know what your focus is, know that there are going to be struggles. Just arm yourself with those pre-thoughts, like, I am going to maybe struggle to get into this. I am going to have to work hard. I might not get to the level I want to be at. And don't compare yourself to anyone else, because your journey is not the same. And the pace of your journey certainly isn't the same. So just go as it is, as it's presented. So yeah, that's how I stay grounded.
All right, do we have another question in the audience? All right.
Hello, everyone. How is everyone? Shout out to Hidden Junk. Also, shout out to all of you guys. This is great. This is an amazing opportunity for everyone to have and to learn and to obviously be influenced by the ideas that you bring forth. But one of my questions was in terms of the African diaspora and where we're heading off to. What is expected from people such as yourselves that has reached that pinnacle, and what do we need to do in terms of making sure we move forward, in terms of developing and influencing the culture from people that are in rural areas and underprivileged spaces, if I may put it that way, yeah. Can I repeat the question? Sure. So what is expected from you as a panel, from ourselves? Like, what do you expect us to do to move forward since you've reached this pinnacle that you are at? Sure.
Can I answer?
Yeah.
So I think when you are in a position and you are fortunate to make the table longer, do it. Don't build the fence higher, you know, because that's what a lot of people do, and that's why the resources are so limited, and that's why a lot of people feel like the gates are closed and no one can enter. I am from disadvantaged background, and as I shared my story, I work with disadvantaged kids, and that's exactly what we're doing. Opening the doors, extending the table so everybody can eat.
Thank you. Niso, I'm kidding. Could we please have another question from the audience right there at the back?
Sanmonani, ninjani igama ngunokwethemba ngwamngomezulu. Okay, the question that I have, it's basically for people here because I believe we're all creatives, or you wouldn't have been attracted to this place, right? So there's the idea that we have to pursue our education, right? And we also have to venture into our craft, right? So the biggest issue that I always have myself is I don't see myself working a 9 to 5, as he said. I have now be able schooling, right? But on my side, I don't come from a privileged family, right? But I still want to create. But it's very hard to create from a space of right? So how do I get the balance? I know you guys are there, now you have beautiful followers and we look up to you, but how do I, as a person in this space, navigate the issue of graduating, going to 9 to 5, creating, and also, I'm not sure if she's a dancer, just a dancer on its own, or he's just into fashion, but they like presenting, they also like photography, they also like drawing, and they also like being creative. How do you navigate that space, because you guys are up there and we're still here trying to figure that out? If you could guys pave it for us, it could be way more easier. Thank you.
I'd like to answer that one. Literally, with the way that I started my career, I started on YouTube. The way in which, well, after matric, went to varsity, fine, graduated, and I literally thought that after graduation, I would automatically get a job, because that's why they tell us to go to school so that we can get jobs. But we work in a very fickle industry, and things don't literally happen like that. So what did I do? I decided to use my resources. Literally anything that was around me. It was a cell phone. Well, it was not my cell phone, but it was someone else's cell phone. And I started shooting content speaking about myself, because also I think I was very tired of going to auditions, and I kept on hearing no, 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 because also that can be very damaging to your soul. So what I did was I used my resources, and I was like, okay, in terms of content, what am I interested in? What am I going to talk about? I literally spoke about the fact that I'm staying in a commune, I don't have a TV, I'm literally sleeping in a mattress, and I am drinking 20 rand wine. So, and that was something that, you know, weirdly enough, it related to a lot of people. And back to what Trevor was saying as well, I didn't know what YouTube was. I thought YouTube was for Beyonce or Britney Spears, like, and yes. But a friend of mine, also, again, using the resources and the people that are around you, was like, listen, let's take this video and let's put it on YouTube. And we literally expected, what, 100, maybe 100 hits on YouTube. And overnight, we got like 3,000 something hits. And literally, fast forward, ta-da! So literally, just use your resources and everything else that is around you. Don't let your surroundings, in terms of and now you're I don't know, I don't have money to do this, or if, let's say, I'm a content creator, I don't have money for a camera. Start off small. Literally, now I started shooting with my cousin's BlackBerry, and the camera quality was horrible. It was literally horrible. But one thing that I always say is content is king. They didn't care about my lighting. They didn't care how I looked. They just cared about what I was saying. Thank you. All right, and then could we please have a question from the people that are tuned in virtually? I think this one is more directed to you, Vasi. How do you start budgeting to pay off a debt?
Okay. So I think the first thing that we'll look at in terms of the debt is make a list of all the debt that you have a look at the interest rate that you're paying together with what the installment is. Then have a look to see if there's an opportunity to consolidate that debt at a lower interest rate. Because what that then does is it frees up some of your money and allows you to start paying off sooner. So let's take, for example, you're paying a debt at prime plus 7, and if you consolidate, you're probably paying a rate of prime plus 3. That difference of 4% puts money back into your pocket. That then means that you can start paying off your debt sooner with a higher portion towards reducing the debt. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Again, I think this one is for you as well. There's a question that says, I've heard about the 50-30-20 rule for budgeting. Is this still something valid? I don't even know what that is.
So I think in terms of the budgeting rules, it all depends. Firstly, you're going to need to take care of the core essentials, and everybody needs to look off for your Maslow's hierarchy of needs, so your shelter, your food, and the bare basics. Then you're going to need to look to see what is your living expenses in terms of the add-ons, and then can you afford any luxuries? And it's always important to spoil yourself. So you can't be working tight shifts and a really demanding job, but not affording to spoil yourself ever so little. But I think the trap that we need to avoid and stay out of is how much is that amount that I start splurging on myself. So the 50-30-20, yes, but it all depends on your circumstances. It also depends on your income that you're getting, because right now what we're seeing is that there isn't this much of set income. There's great flexibility. We've seen it for the past 2 years in terms of hours being reduced, work time being reduced. So how do you then adjust to what you need to take care of? Thanks.
All right, thank you so much for that answer, Vasi. Changemakers, could you please give us your socials and where can people find you and you can finally have a seat? Yes, Miss, so we're starting with you. Your socials.
All right, so my social media is at Missology on all social platforms. So it's at MISOLOGY on all social media platforms. Twitter, Facebook, it's Misolupondo, and then Instagram, it's at Missology, yeah.
All right. Vasi?
Well, you're going to find me at vossig@nedbank.co.za in terms of my email address. I'm not active on Twitter, so maybe it's a lesson that I need to take out. Yeah.
Thank you. Trevor?
For me, I guess all my social media platforms are the same. The handle is at Trevor_Steerman.
All right. Thank you.
For me, my personal social media is VUITTOTS Vitots on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and the brand's social media is GALXBOY, Galaxboy, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Yeah.
Thank you.
My handles are Facebook, Darren Alberts, that's a like page and personal page. IG at Darren_TNT, and then our business is at So Dope Dance.
Thank you so much. Last round of applause for. All right, guys, thank you so much to everyone for joining our first YouthX Live today. The day is not over. We encourage you guys to still engage with our changemakers. As I said, they're still going to be sitting that side. Maybe some of you were shy to hold the mic, but you are more than welcome to just grab them to the side and then just ask them some of your questions. And also, there are business owners who came through today and just to enter our competitions. Last round of applause to our power panel. All right, and we have another amazing performance. Give it up for Sitabile and Anele.
nice and easy. I wanna go out tonight. The night time is the right time to have fun. I feel good. Come on, you are so far from me. I'm so happy. I'm in the mood. Woo! Don't you try and bring me down as we rejoice. Clap your hands. As we dancing. Clap your hands. When you get, oh, clap your hands. When you happy, clap your hands. 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 Oh, clap your hands. Let us sing and dance. Let's have fun as we rejoice. I'm so glad.
All right, guys, thank you so much. We have now reached the end of our YouthX Live, and we hope you've enjoyed this session. And you guys that are inspired to take the next steps to unlock your potential, thankfully, YouthX is far from over, and we have more events like these to look forward to. To find out more, visit unlock.me social pages for more information. To our media partners, we have set up interview stations right over there. If you guys want to go and interview our changemakers, that's the last door right there. Where you can more than welcome to engage with our changemakers and facilitate any other interviews you have planned. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure hosting you today. Goodbye, everyone, and I hope you travel safely. Ndiyabulela kakhulu.
Sopa sestagi wangeni skuze Ati kipi Hennessy booze Kipi Cameroon shoe Jose teben klangani ku Sestagi wangeni skuze Ati kipi Hennessy booze Kipi Cameroon shoe Jose teben klangani ku
Booze, 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 uyangibuza ugogo hamba ney'gogo ngenachelete baxeka amadolo stobo sipitha bempanda nepolo sifuna ichankura saxaka nesondo sibanda neboda sibikile ibhola ezamayisukile wakekho ngasikhona boza ukhuluma udaka siyabutova thathela imidi nombali siyabshova ngenachelete sayibhova ngenachelete sayidova ngenachelete sayigova imisiphelete uyabona inikelele engayithola boza bili hamba makuza nakanjani awupheli hamba makuza nakanjani
Tuksin, usela nenkinga obhadala isikweletu uyakolotisa umakhelwane okhala uyamsokolisa sekumele ngibiza uthula zokubhakwadisa manje kumele ngilanda imali yakolekisa uthi manje kumele ngilanda imali yakolekisa
Asoba sesigayiwa ngeke nisikhuze Sathi khipha iHennessy siphuze Khipha ikhamera ungishuku Ositebeni hlanga niyiphuze Sesigayiwa ngeke nisikhuze Sathi khipha iHennessy siphuze Khipha ikhamera ungishuku Ositebeni hlanga niyiphuze
Who's Nireto Shunga Sanmanani Asam What's up? Ashia Hey Highway Who's Se achunga Who's again Highway I saw that Who's Ashia Akona Manazareta Who's Shit, oh shit, water. Aiwe, huyakaga. Huyakaga. Direti. Salama niko masambe kanje. Ngifuna sambe kanje. Direti. Asa.